Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to Edge Hill for our final graduation ceremony this evening. I hope you thoroughly enjoy this evening's proceedings, but before we commence, can we just spend a couple of seconds in contemplation following the sad loss of a global icon, Nelson Mandela, earlier this week. Immediately after the trumpet fanfare, the opening address will be given by Pro-Vice-Chancellor Robert Smedley, the Dean of the Faculty of Education. I hereby declare this congregation open.
Good afternoon and a warm welcome to Edge Hill University. I'm Robert Smedley, one of 3 Pro-Vice-Chancellors and Deans here at the university. And it is a great pleasure in terms of being able to address both sides of the hall this afternoon at this very special ceremony. Chancellor, Pro-Chancellors, Vice-Chancellor, Deputy Vice-Chancellor, colleagues, graduates and guests. We are here today to celebrate the achievements of those who are starting out on their career path in the education sector and in the health sector, together with those who currently work in those sectors but have actually chosen to further their development and study in-house degrees with the university. The education and health sectors touch all our lives in various ways and with varying intensity at different times in those lives. Many of you will remember the joys and horrors of their school days, winning the egg and spoon race on sports day when you were just 6. Well, I do. That nasty teacher who never let you talk. And that great teacher who helped you through the tough times and helped you understand those quadratic equations. Similarly, the health sector touches our lives in different ways and at different times. This can be when we're looking to live a much healthier lifestyle, the expert on hand, or it can be at those particularly low and difficult times in life. And again, that expert on hand who makes a real difference to you, your family, and the future. Both education and health are sectors that form part of the foundation of our society, our lives, our development, and well-being. But very often, I believe they're taken for granted. They go unacknowledged or are even criticised and blamed for circumstances and events out of their control. What I want us to do here today is to remember those individuals that come together to form these sectors in our society. They are human beings. They are special human beings. And we have some of those with us today, i.e. each of you. You are special. You are special today because of your achievements, and it's your day to enjoy the glory and your success. But you are special beyond today because of the professions you have chosen to work in and the work that you will do and do as part of your life's work. You will change lives for the better. You will bring joy, you will bring happiness, you will bring success, and you will bring freedom to thousands of people. You are special. Edge Hill University is proud to have 2 of the most successful professional faculties in the country, namely education and health and social care. The work of the university in these professional areas is known and recognised worldwide. Our staff are leading experts in their fields and continually strive to improve the country's provision. Both the Department for Education and the Department of Health recognise that Edge Hill University is outstanding in what it does and is an outstanding provider of training in both education and health. And we actually believe that it is our responsibility to be innovative in these two sectors and actually help to create a world-class education system and health service for this country. The students here today, on my left, whether they be in work and doing continual professional development or just about to start their careers, they represent this university's ambitious vision to be preeminent in its work in teacher and health education. And some of the very best qualified professionals are here, either in the profession or about to enter the profession. As your career progresses and develops, you will change and develop professionally yourselves, becoming even more highly skilled at what you do and having even greater impact on those who you work with. We want you to stay in touch. We want to be part of that development of your future. And whatever your career path you've chosen, we want you to remember you will always be from the country's leading university for education and health, namely Edge Hill University. We are proud of that and hope that you will always be proud to say it. Congratulations on what you have achieved, and we very much hope that Edge Hill University will continue to be a key part of your lives now and further on in your careers. Thank you very much.
Chancellor, on behalf of Academic Board, I present students from the Faculty of Education who are candidates for awards today. Master of Arts Education, Lorna Eve Ahern. Rabia Ahmed. Hannah Frances Bolson. James Bonsall. Victoria Chapman. Paul Matthew Clark. Jacqueline Marie Day. Catherine Delia Dolman. Andrew Ian Dunn. Janet Louise Edwards. Karen Etherington. Christine Garrity. Sarah Jerry. Laura Haig. Catherine Lynn Hanson. Kate Louise Hoole. Liesel Arden Hughes. Amar Nilesh Jogo. Tracy Jane Jones. Lucy Sarah Joinson. Nicola Kearns. Sarah Jane Kerr. Kay Moore King. Janet Christine Lee. Natasha Jane Lachlan. Laura Malt. Michael Amoko Mareko. Jennifer Morgan. Stephen John Morris. Ian James Nurser. Susan Erica O'Leary Hall. David Payne. Jeannie Allison Payne. Jacqueline Perkins. Gillian Elizabeth Pye. Karen Raffa. Mary Elizabeth Rice. Nicola Jane Riley. Hazel Saras. Sue Sharkey. Emma Michelle Sharp. Helen Spears. Paul Spencer. Lorna Stanley. Judith Sutcliffe. Mark Sutcliffe. Alexander Tompkins. Sharon Walker. Rosalind Whitworth. Rob John Williams. Master of Arts Education, Early Mathematics Intervention, Shirley Bray. Jane Fletcher. Karen Ann Scott. Master of Arts Education, Educational Leadership, Andrew John Cooper. Francine Joanne Foster. Theophilus Kofi Gokar. Julie Laman. James Leck. Alan John McKeegan. Master of Arts Education, Inclusion and Special Educational Needs, Jacqueline Ann Altoft. Patricia Joan Bond. Hazel Clare Broadfield. Jacqueline Ann Cox. Ellen Louise Galbraith. Anna Granger. Nicola Hearn. Sarah Louise Pugh. Leslie Renshaw. Master of Arts Education Music, Elizabeth Brocklehurst. Master of Arts in Clinical Education, Karen Marie Connor. Mahesh Kumar Dodi. Karen Elizabeth Groves. Nicola Taylor. Master of Arts in Management of International Higher Education, Thomas Allardyce. Diane Glotier. Masters in Teaching and Learning, Jennifer Louise Oatey. Paula Geraldine Crow. Jenny Ann Dunn. Sophie Graham. Amy Green. Postgraduate Diploma Education, Jane Sabastina Stephanie Pound. Postgraduate Diploma in Education, Advanced Specialist Primary Mathematics, Alison Margaret Davis. Alison Ann Stoll. Postgraduate Certificate in Mathematics Education, Helen Story. Postgraduate Certificate in Specific Learning Difficulties, Dyslexia, Claire Ashton. Rachel Jane Gill. Claire Ann Ward. Postgraduate Certificate in Teaching and Learning in Clinical Practice, Sarah Lindsay Wardle. Postgraduate Certificate in Workplace-Based Postgraduate Medical Education, Elizabeth Haslett. Obiama Ihuzu. Liz Martindale. Nikos Mitsidis. Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Post-Compulsory Education and Training, Rebecca Crook. Kieran Mark John James Cropper. Kate Elizabeth Hodkinson. Naya Khan. Katrina Gale Lawton. Emma Devra Mann. David Presho. David Simkin. Professional Graduate Certificate in Education, Post-Compulsory Education and Training, Danielle Elizabeth Burkett. Danielle Sarah Jane Wiseman.
Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Primary Mathematics Education, Anthony Christopher Thompson Woolley. Professional Graduate Certificate in Education, Primary Mathematics Education, Adam Gordon Dyson. Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Applied Art and Design, Rachel Karen Thompson. Professional Graduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Business Education, Rebecca Dunn. Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Computer Science and Information Technology, Kimberly Jane Webster. Professional Graduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Design and Technology, Samantha Taylor. Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary English, Hannah Louise Leatherbarrow. Melissa Sweeney-Jones. Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Information Technology and Computing, Grace Gregson. Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Mathematics, Jayaprada Topai. Professional Graduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Mathematics, Philip Kubelius. Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Modern Languages, Laura Florence Pierrette Charlot. Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Music, Caroline Amy Sampson. Postgraduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Science Physics, Stephen Michael Breeze. Professional Graduate Certificate in Education, Secondary Science Physics, David Stewart Rimmer. Bachelor of Arts with Honours in Primary Education with Qualified Teacher Status, Ian James Evans. Ailsa Goldsworthy. Thomas Grice. Sophie Elizabeth Morris. Amy Tutankukara. Bachelor of Arts with Honours in Early Years Education with Qualified Teacher Status, Megan Anders. Zoe Shimin. Bachelor of Arts with Honours in English Key Stage 2-3 Education with Qualified Teacher Status, Matthew Foster. Michelle Marie Perkins. Bachelor of Arts with Honours in Religious Education, Key Stage 2-3 Education with Qualified Teacher Status, Benjamin John Roos. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Creative Art, Design and Technology, Key Stage 2-3 Education with Qualified Teacher Status, Charlotte Elizabeth Harwood. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Information Communication Technology, Key Stage 2-3 Education with Qualified Teacher Status, Demi Goodband. Bachelor of Arts with Honours in Information and Communications Technology, Secondary Education with Qualified Teacher Status, Nicola Hoyle. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Design and Technology, Secondary Education with Qualified Teacher Status, Lee Francis Parkinson. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Information and Communications Technology, Secondary Education with Qualified Teacher Status, Azita Hadian. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Mathematics, Secondary Education with Qualified Teacher Status, Siobhan Hanley. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Science Secondary Education with Qualified Teacher Status, Richard Eyes. Simon Gould. Bachelor of Arts with Honours in English Key Stage 2-3 Education, Catherine Hallen. Bachelor of Arts with Honours in Primary Education, Fiona Marie Donnellan. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Design and Technology, Secondary Education, Paula Barton. Leah Marie Kennelly. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Information and Communications Technology Secondary Education, Peter Christopher Dunn. Emma Marsh. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Mathematics Secondary Education, Luca Goodman. Bachelor of Arts with Honours in Early Years Practice, Jessica Megan Bannister. Bachelor of Arts with Honours in Teaching, Learning and Mentoring Practice, Owen de Asher. Lauren Emily Miles. Kerry Ann Piper. Daniel Jason Carlton Watson. Foundation degree, Arts in Teaching, Learning and Mentoring Practice, Laura Jane Brown. Certificate of Higher Education in Post-Compulsory Education and Training, Samantha Louise King. Chancellor, the following candidates studied for their award at Holy Cross College. Bachelor of Arts with Honours in Teaching, Learning and Mentoring Practice, Fazana Begum. Margaret Ann Mulvey. Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of students from the Faculty of Education.
Chancellor, on behalf of Academic Board, I present students from the Faculty of Health and Social Care who are candidates for awards today. Master of Science in Advanced Practice, Helen Alexandra Jones. Claire Julie Ratcliffe. Master of Science in Leadership Development, Leadership and Management, Margaret Ann Clark. Dorothy Joan Keats. Master of Science in Respiratory Disease Management, Vicky Bailey. Eleanor Ruth Phillips. Jane Suzanne Young. Tendai Electa Zinyangeri. Master of Surgery in Trauma and Orthopedics, Adani Adesani Agenbesan. Ravi Shekhar Reddy Rindulu. Raghuendra Marapaji. Kiran Kumar Naikotan. Hannah Phillips. Ali Raza. Postgraduate Certificate in Advanced Practice, Donna Michelle Perry. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Behavioural Analysis and Intervention, Nicola Goulding. Dawn Hart. Tracy Bernadette Henry. Lee Jennings. Stuart Lyons. Janet Kathleen Senatore Thorpe. Colin Andrew Smith. Tracy Ann Tyrrell. Stacey Elizabeth Williams. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Clinical and Professional Child and Young Persons Palliative and End-of-Life Practice, Tracy Phillips. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Clinical and Professional Mental Health Practice, Anne Lorraine Blackhurst. Angela Charles. Angela Marie Sutton. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Clinical and Professional Perioperative Practice, Kerry Lee Byrne. Sola Keller Nathan. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Clinical and Professional Practice, Christine Julie Bohr. Siji Mole Chakachan. Katie Cheetham. Karen Chorley. Sunimol Sinto John. Maria Clegg. Helen Dunning. Jessie Gervagos Etanama. Shiny George. Carla Granger. Bindu Kumari Harikuma. Bindu John. Janet Marriott. Nicola McGarry. Julia Sharon Miller. Lynn Mitchell. Mary Catherine Nasoro. Helen Jane Nichols. Deva Rajan. Leela Raju. Sija Samuel. Donna Mary Schwartz. Shani Molshibu. Ruth Kathleen Turner. Rani Varghese. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Health and Social Care Practice, Beatrice Changu. Michelle Louise Durney. Julie Dawn McKay. Jane Louise Noonan. Antoinette Carolyn Page. Philip Thomas Page. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Health and Social Care Practice, Perioperative Practice, Angela Mary Pritchard. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Respiratory Practice, Amy Clark. Melissa Jane Collins. Anna Marie Cook. Sheila Ann Griffiths. Patricia Martina McCabe. Pamela Helen Parry. Claire Virginia Edith Tuckalon. Rebecca Jane Turner. Masters of Arts in Education, Sally Ann Warnes. Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of students. Thank you.
While you're clapping, all I've done is I have shaken an awful lot of really very sweaty hands. But I haven't actually given them, conferred their awards on them yet. Ha ha. So, shall I give them their awards? That's pathetic. This is come on, this is pantomime season. Should I give them their awards? Yes! And where are they? They're behind you. Yeah, well done, thank you. You're the first audience that got it right this Thursday. Okay, do you want them? Yes. Sorry? Well, work harder and faster. Okay, right, here we go. This is the moment you've all been waiting for, and it gives me great pleasure to say to you that by the authority vested in me as Chancellor of Edgehill University, I hereby confer the Edgehill University Awards for which you have been presented, and I congratulate you all. Take your hats off, wave them in the air. Well done. Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Tanya Byron. I am the Chancellor of Edgehill University, which, in order to help you understand what a Chancellor is, for those of you who don't understand how these things work, the best way to explain who I am is I am the Queen. And this is my kingdom. And so it gives me great pleasure to welcome you here today and to share this very special moment with all of you, and particularly with all of you. It really is a fantastic and very privileged role being Chancellor. And I mean, the hands are sweaty, I can tell you that. But it is really very emotional. And a lot of you come towards me with tears in your eyes. Some of you are crying. Some of you tell me you think you're going to be sick because you're so nervous. Thank you for not being. But all of you, in one way or another, clearly this is an important moment in your life. And I just want to spend a little bit of time reflecting on that, because I think graduation ceremonies, certainly in my time, were coma-inducingly boring. And we feel here at Edgehill, because of the kind of university we are, where we celebrate success and achievement in every way and excellence, that this celebration should truly be a celebration of the remarkable achievement of you all. And I know that you've all worked hard to be here, and I'm very proud of you as your Chancellor. So over 125 years ago, we started life as the first non-denominational teacher training college for women. So what that meant was it was the first time ever that women could be trained in a vocational, which was vocation, which was teaching, but it wouldn't be controlled by the church. So that was a massive, massive time of social change. The robe I'm wearing and my colleagues are wearing, the green and the purple and the gold, these are the colours of the suffragette movement. And the suffragette movement was incredibly important in the development of this college as it was then, and still the values and the principles sit beneath our core values and principles as the university that we are today. And in fact, the first woman who practiced as a barrister was trained here, and several other notable women who went on to do some incredible things as women at a time when these things were generally not happening, came through Edgehill. So you're part of a long history, not just the women here, but also the gentlemen. You're all part of a long history of incredible innovation, education, and social change. And now we get to you. And first of all, I want to say thank you very much for coming here. Thank you for being part of the Edgehill story. Second of all, I want to say I'm very proud of you, and I'm proud to see you leave us and to go on and represent us in all that you choose to do, because I know you will do very well. You've all chosen to work in areas which are challenging, incredibly challenging, but incredibly worthwhile. Some of you are in health, some of you are in education. These are both areas I work in, and I know, having worked for many years in both areas, gives me an awful lot of pleasure and sometimes can be very difficult. But the fact that there are people like you who commit yourselves to careers in the areas of health, social care, and the education of children, young people and adults, I have to say I'm incredibly, incredibly proud and privileged to be your Chancellor. What I also would like to say to you that there are people here who have worked extremely hard to support you to get to where you are now having your awards and your degrees. So I'd like to ask all the academic staff here to stand up, and I'd like you to show your appreciation to them and to thank them very much for the support they've given you to get here today. Could you stand up, please? I won't spend much longer talking because I'm sure you're all ready for gasping for a cup of tea or a glass of wine, which we've got all ready for you when the ceremony finishes. But there's one thing I would like to say, because today is a day for us to say goodbye to someone very special to the university, and I just hope you'll bear with me just to say a few words to Michael Pinfold, who is our outgoing chair of the governing body. Michael, who opened the ceremony and is looking very modestly down at the moment. But Michael has been associated with the university for 12 years. He's chaired our governing body incredibly expertly and has been very much a part of the growth of the university into who we are today. Sadly for us, it's time for him to go and to move on. He is an incredible colleague and to many of us a great friend. And Michael, as your Chancellor, I should like to say, I still expect you to be here when I'm up here. I enjoyed all the raconteur and the jokes, and I know everyone else will really miss you, and thank you for your dedication to the university. You have been an incredible Chair of Governors, and right, you can go now. Thanks. Right, so if you guys ever lose this moment, or you think, why on earth did I decide to go into health or social care or education, and tough places to go, remember this moment. This is the moment. You're at the platform to the next level. And if you ever need reminding, come back. Talk to the people who you've developed relationships, come back and talk to me, talk to any of us, just to remember why you are from Edge Hill and why Edge Hill has made you into who you are. My special guest here today is Dr. Wendy Brown. She's sitting in the front row, and she trained me and has been my mentor for nearly 25 years in my career. And it's these relationships, like I have with Dr. Brown and that you have with your colleagues here, that will sustain you through your career. So never, don't forget us, because we won't forget you, and we're always here for you. So on behalf of myself and the entire cast of Harry Potter, thank you very much for coming, and have a lovely evening. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, with a song for our graduating class of 2013, will you please welcome Miss Lucy McHale.
my lot that I should rise and you should not. I gently rise and I softly call, good night and joy be with you. A man may drink and not be drunk. A man may fight and not be saved. A man may court a pretty girl and perhaps be welcomed back again. But since it has so wondrous been, by a time to rise and a time to fall, come fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you. Come fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you.
Thank you, Lucy. Can I add my personal congratulations to all those who have just graduated. Ladies and gentlemen, before I disappear into the sunset, there are still one or two duties I still have to fulfill. First of all, some 1,000 students have graduated today, and over 2,000 visitors have been on the campus. On any reckoning, that is quite a logistical challenge of getting one lot of visitors seated, getting the next group of visitors lined up, and then moving them along, a bit like a conveyor belt. And for these ceremonies to work seamlessly, there are very, very many people involved. Some of them are here in this hall, but there are probably 4 times as many outside the hall who all play an integral role in making these ceremonies run smoothly. On behalf of the top table, I would like to thank them all very sincerely, and I would ask you please to join with me in the accustomed manner of thanking them. Thank you. In case there have been any equipment malfunctions, cameras and telephones not working at the correct moment, the entire ceremony will be capable of being watched on the university's website. It does take the techie people a few days to do whatever they have to do. I don't begin to understand what they do. So after everyone's had their Christmas lunch, Dad's fast asleep, Mum's done the washing up, etc., and you've got nothing better to do. That's how it works in my house. You've got nothing better to do, but the entire family can sit down and watch the entire proceedings and catch up with those moments which they missed. Lastly, ladies and gentlemen, Chancellor Tanya mentioned in passing, refreshments will now be available in the hub. The hub is the main building immediately to the rear of the main building. Ladies and gentlemen, I declare this congregation closed.